Right now, young people are desperate for change more than ever.
A lot of these voting barriers today are direct attacks on young people. A lot of states don't allow students to use their college IDs.
That's why now it's incredibly important for young people to get engaged and help try to build the democracy that not only do they want to live in the future, but leave for the future. Not only with voting, but organizing within your community, holding elected officials accountable, attending council meetings, and being a younger voice in a room full of much older people.
Hi everyone, I'm Rachel and this is Dillon, and welcome back to Behind the Ballot. This episode, we are focusing on fair access to voting and election protection. Today, we are looking to the future and focusing on fair access to voting for all, especially for young people like ourselves, because we are the future. So before we jump in, Dillon, can you briefly explain what fair access to voting actually means? And what are we looking for on the ground to make sure that people in Black communities and everywhere have the right to vote?
Thank you, Rachel. So oftentimes when people think of fair access to voting, they automatically think of a lot of the voting barriers that Black voters faced decades ago, such as poll taxes and literacy tests. While we're proud that these barriers have been outlawed by the Voting Rights Act of 1965, there are still barriers that remain to this day, such as long lines, stricter ID requirements, and more. Fair access to voting would look like accessible language options, as well as accessible entrances to poll sites. It can also look like expanded voting hours, early voting hours, and even curbside voting. On the ground during elections, our Black Voters on the Rise team and poll observers are looking for any issues that prevent or hinder voters from casting their ballots. These issues could include a lack of signage, which makes it harder for voters to identify their poll site, also parking availability and conditions, as well as accessibility issues, poll site management, and voter intimidation.
Dillon, you're exactly right. And a lot of these voting barriers today are direct attacks on young people. For example, a lot of states don't allow students to use their college IDs. Additionally, a lot of states don't even have poll sites on college campuses. So Dillon, what is LDF and our election protection team, Black Voters on the Rise, doing to ensure Black voters are prepared to vote ahead of the 2026 midterms?
So this year, Black Voters on the Rise is prepared to meet any and all challenges to voter access. Our team works hand in hand with local organizations to educate voters on elections, help train volunteers, and assist voters on the ground. Our Black Voters on the Rise team is going to continue this year to work with community partners and organizers to help share voter education resources and encourage voters to pick a voting plan ahead of their elections. So Rachel, how does Black Voters on the Rise year-round support of Black voters help impact communities?
So LDF and Black Voters on the Rise works year-round to protect Black voters by monitoring elections, and then after those elections, advocating for improvements to election officials and the state legislature. And through data and reports on voter experience, we can directly show to these officials that current policy isn't working and a change is needed. Additionally, when changes are made to improve access through our election protection program, we can again measure that impact to communities. And so, Dillon, how can someone become a poll worker or a poll monitor or get involved in the election protection program?
So one of the best ways to support your community ahead of upcoming elections is to become a poll worker or poll monitor. Signing up is incredibly easy. You can find an application on your county's election website, or you can visit powerthepolls.org to find out some more information. So Rachel, can you explain a little bit more on not only what election protection is, but how it works, and how can people get assistance when they need to vote?
Across the country, local organizations coordinate to provide election protection. And so it's a program that supports voters and addresses any potential issues that may come up in real time. If you have any questions about voting or need assistance, you can call the hotline 866-OUR-VOTE to get help from volunteers just like myself who are ready to respond and assist you when needed. Election protection is a long-standing part of Black history, and so February being Black History Month and Dillon's birthday, Dillon, why is it important to teach accurate history about voting rights in schools?
So it's incredibly important that all students in America learn a true and accurate portrayal of history here. As well as February being Black History Month, it's the perfect time to learn about organizing power and the power that we have as a community. History has shown that when we come together as a community, we can create the change that we'd like to see. Events like the Freedom Rides, the Montgomery bus boycotts, and the Summer Bridge Crossing not only highlight and showcase the power of our civil rights leaders, but the power in community. And it helps remind us that when we organize as a community, we can continue seeing the change. So, Rachel, being 25, what does the 250th anniversary of America mean to you as a young person?
The 250th anniversary of America comes at a really fraught time. I know young people like myself across the country are very frightened and confused, but also filled with a sort of pride to know that we have the foundations to build a better democracy. And so I think this 250th anniversary, what it means to me is reflecting on not only the painful history that this country has had, but also remembering and uplifting all of the people and all of the communities who have worked so hard to build a better democracy. So, Dillon, why should young people vote and engage in the political process in this critical year for our democracy? And what are some ways that they can get engaged or get involved in their communities?
So, right now, young people are desperate for change more than ever. They're wanting to see things differently from the status quo. And that's why now it's incredibly important for young people to get engaged and help try to build the democracy that not only do they want to live in the future, but leave for the future. Part of that includes being committed to engaging in the political process, not only with voting, but organizing within your community, holding elected officials accountable, attending council meetings, and being a younger voice in a room full of much older people. Remains an incredibly important part of the political process, but your engagement should not end there. You want to pay attention to what your local officials are doing after they win their elections. That way you can hold them accountable and make sure that they're committed to not only your well-being, but the well-being of your entire community. So Rachel, what are some things that anyone watching this video can do to help protect the right to vote?
Well, first and foremost, it's so important for you to listen to your election officials for the most accurate information regarding elections. There is a lot of misinformation out there, and we want to make sure you're receiving the accurate information. Additionally, you can organize your community to volunteer as nonpartisan poll monitors to help protect voters in real time and report any issues that may occur. And finally, share the election protection hotline with your friends and family. 866 Our Vote. Remember, 866 Our Vote. They can assist you with any issues or help you through any problems that you may have voting. Thank you so much for watching Behind the Ballot. Dillon and I hope that you learned something, and we really hope that you get yourself and your community out there to vote this year. LDF, and as part of the Black Voters on the Rise team, we are going to be on the ground, and we really hope that you join us and get engaged, and let's make this a great year.